Good morning, everybody. Actually, it's almost noon. I'm very happy to be here, and I want to thank Minister Popovic for the kind invitation for my partner Rami Kalish and myself to learn and explore Serbia and potentially maybe do something together here. And I also want to acknowledge the team from the embassy, our ambassador, Alona and Mayan, a new addition. Good luck. And it's been a pleasure to be here in your beautiful city, in your beautiful country and beautiful weather. And so thank you so much for hosting us. Before we will start the panel, I would like to say a few words about innovation and its impact about societies and economies. I'd like to start by trying to share with you the journey that we have basically, that we are going through in our world. This is the topic of the presentation. So I will share with you the story of Israel. It's a country as small as Serbia that was born some 70 years ago. When the country was established, we discovered a piece of land that is very, very small, that basically had nothing. We say that we were blessed with nothingness. No water, no food, no land, no shelter, no natural resources. My father used to say that in the Middle East, there are two kinds of countries. They are oily countries and holy countries. And unfortunately, Israel is a holy country, but it's not an oily one. So we had nothing to build upon. And so, as our ambassador said, necessity is the mother of all inventions. We had to innovate every step of our way. So when people think about Israel, it's not another Silicon Valley. It is the first innovation nation. It's the first nation that was built upon the power of entrepreneurship, innovation, science, and technology in order to compensate and to build a nation from the very beginning. And one can basically identify 4 stages of innovation. The first one is settling down. When the Jewish people came from the diaspora to settle down, they had to innovate in order to settle down, in order to have crops, in order to have water, in order to have energy, to settle down, build cities, villages, and have life across the nation. Immediately with that, the second step was actually to protect ourselves. Remember, when you live on a small island that has no ocean to protect yourself, or mountains or rivers, you have to build a wall of innovation that is made out of brain power. But it was not enough, because in 1984, when we managed to build our nation, when we managed to protect ourselves, our economy was collapsing. We were living on an island with no resources. And as a matter of fact, in 1984, our economy was imploding, was collapsing into itself. We had 444.9% inflation rate. It was impossible. And then we embarked on the third step, which is actually innovating for our economy. And Rami has spoken about the journey of Pitango in that phase of innovation, how from nothing we created one of the most interesting global sources of innovation, one of the most interesting hubs of venture capital and investments. And of course, the last one was actually innovating for our survivability, for peace, trying to create the 4th step of innovation right now, where we try to work with our neighbors in order to shape a new tomorrow upon which we both can live together. So that's the blessing of nothingness. We just had nothing, and when we understood that we have nothing, we discovered the most important resource. And the most important resource is our brain power. It's our ability to innovate, to create, to dream, to imagine, to dare, to take risk, and to flourish based on our mind. The same happened with our ecosystem in the defense industry, and I think the ambassador also mentioned it. that when we build our innovation defense industry, we created the best school for entrepreneurship and for technology. Because young Israelis that are joining the defense forces, they have to create unbelievable solutions and technologies, cutting-edge technologies. Lives are dependent on their ability to deliver on those systems. And of course, they do it with budgets in very strict resources and time where they have to come up with a solution. But this part, I think, is the most important part of our story. It describes the biggest trends that are taking place today in our world. We are in the center of a journey from an old world into a new world. In this slide, you see from matters to bytes. Actually, it's from land to mind. It's from natural resources to data. It's from an age where we depended on the land and what we could harvest from the land to an age where we live on our brain power and there is no limit to what we can generate with our brain power. If you look at the United States and you look at the 10 most successful companies in the United States, you will discover that the companies of the matter, of the earth, oil and gas and chemical and construction, are out of the list of the 10 most successful companies in the United States. And the most successful companies are technology companies. It's Amazon and it's Facebook and it's Apple. And as a matter of fact, 3 companies in the United States already crossed the bar of $1 trillion market cap. Those are the new empires of the new generation. When you look at China, when I will ask you to name the Chinese greatest companies, you will most likely say Alibaba or WeChat or Tencent or even ByteDance, but you cannot name other companies. There are no earthly companies. And when you look at the Israeli ecosystem, the most successful companies in Israel are technology companies. They are the biggest one. And it's going to happen in every country, one after the other. There is a shift of power from land to mind. But it's not enough to have necessity as the mother of innovation. Because at the end of the day, now in Israel, we are very strong militarily. We have very powerful military force. We have a very strong and vibrant economy. So what is going to drive the next innovation in the next age? Rami and I, as investors, are observing the new generation of young people that are now getting into the market. It's a completely different generation than our generation. It's a new generation of customers and consumers. It's a new generation of entrepreneurs. It's a new generation of innovators. They were born into a country, in Israel, for example, or in other innovation nations, that are quite strong, quite stable. So what will drive innovation next? Is it going to become from the defense industries? I doubt. Because artificial intelligence and quantum computing are no longer out of the mother of necessity. It's about creating a better world. It's about creating a peaceful world. We have learned that innovation nations, nations that are investing in research and development, in education, that empower the young generation to use their brain power, do not have to fight anymore on the land. They don't have to fight on natural resources. They don't have to go to war anymore. That is an old world. We should leave that old world behind us and enter a new world of possibilities. Not only that, we also see in the world that the wealth of the world, the $70, $80 trillion in the world today, are looking where to invest, where to generate returns. They are taking that money, which is liquid, and invest it in growth equity. They invest it in innovation because innovation companies are growing faster than any other business around the world. So influx of money is going now to innovation nation, but it's going into innovation nation that are innovating for the world. And as we live a world of wars over the land and over the natural resources, we are entering a new age where together we have to address all the global challenges that we are creating as human beings by ourselves. We are creating climate change. We are creating an economy that is global. No single nation today can face the economy without looking at the global economy market. We're looking at a world where people are living countries where they don't have an opportunity to dream or to be successful, and they look for other places. Mobility of people around the world. So we are creating challenges that we have to deal with them together. So we are living a world of wars. We're entering a world of collaboration. We're entering a world of innovation, entrepreneurship, a world of opportunities where you can become great, not on the expense of others. That is a peaceful world. And this is why it is so important for Rami and myself and our partners to connect to nations that have in mind to become innovation nations. When they will become innovation nations, they will be peaceful countries. They will be partners. We will exchange foreign affairs for innovation affairs. We'll exchange wars for collaboration. Innovation is the driving force behind it. But innovation is something that very few people understand and are able to cope with. And a lot of people around the world are not able to cope with the change. Many of them cannot adapt to the rate of change. And somebody said that the rate of change will never be as slow as it is today. In the future, things are going to happen faster. They're going to be much more complicated. And as a result, we are creating a divide of those who are taking part in the opportunities of tomorrow and those who are left behind. That movement from the old world to the new world, that divide, is leading also to social unrest. It leads to disputes between right and left in politics, and it creates the atrocities between human beings with inability to cope with a world that is moving very, very fast. So that's the subject of the matter. Innovation can drive our economy very significantly forward. The Israeli economy is now over 40%, over $40,000 per capita, and soon, I think in a decade, will cross $50,000 per capita, even though significant parts of our society are still not participating in the ecosystem. But it also creates the social unrest and some of the phenomena that I'm not going to mention that all of you can see in the world, of disintegration, of closing doors, of putting your country and your people first because they are unable to cope with an open world of collaboration and fast change. So that's the topic of the matter, and I would like to invite the panelists to discuss this topic. First is Minister Popovic. Please join us. And Stefan Köster from Startup Genome.